Hello everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel. This time we got a little tutorial for you on making the best potting soil. So Dad will go through that. He'll explain the ingredients, how much to use, and he's going to make 1 cubic foot of potting soil mix. So it'll make it easy for you to make a larger or smaller batch. Here we go.
All right, let's go. So I just made a little box here just so we can kind of measure it out and know exactly what we've got here. So we're going to put some organic peat moss in here. That's 1 coffee can full. Kind of have to fluff it up here so it doesn't have big chunks in it. There's 2 coffee cans. Need a little bit more.
Is that any special kind of peat moss?
No, just it's a Canadian sphagnum peat moss. You can get it at big box stores.
What are you doing? You're fluffing it there?
Yeah, because it's kind of chunky.
And so when you as you're measuring it, you're going to use it fluffed?
Yeah. So there's 3. So we're about 1/3 there so far. I'm going to put some more in. So I think we're going to be about 4 of these big coffee cans for it. Yeah. So there's 4. I think that's good. Then we're going to add some perlite. And this is just a standard.
What is it? How do you spell that? Perlite?
Perlite.
P-E-R-L-I-T-E?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can
what does that look like? I'd like
here.
to see what that looks like here. Oh, yeah.
So we're going to do 1 can of that. And another can.
Now, can you explain what perlite is for? And why are you using it?
You want it to have a good drainage in your potting mix, especially important for potting mixes.
And so perlite helps drainage and aeration?
Yeah.
Does it help retain any moisture or not?
No,
Just mostly oxygen?
No, it's just for aeration.
Aeration for your soil biology.
So let's go with 2.5 cans of that perlite. And then we got, what we got here is coconut coir.
Yeah, coconut coir, yeah, okay.
And it comes in a brick like this, and it's really packed solid. So you gotta, what I do is just take a skill saw and just cut it in half and put it in a 5-gallon bucket of water and let it absorb the water, and it'll all expand and get loose and fluffy.
So it's a requirement that you soak it like that.
Yeah, you've got to soak it
before you use it.
And this is what it's.
Then you just drain off the excess water after it's soaked?
It pretty much takes up the whole 5-gallon bucket.
Oh, so you do 1 Coir brick per 5-gallon bucket?
Pretty much, yeah. I think that's about what it is.
Okay, I want to see that up close.
So here's what it looks like.
See what that looks like. Oh, very nice.
Really. And the reason I like to use a little bit of this is because the peat moss is hydrophobic. And so if it gets dry, it's really hard to get it back to wet. And so if you put this in there, the coconut coir, it's not hydrophobic like the peat moss, and it'll absorb the water really fast, and that'll get the moisture back in the pot, and then the peat moss can absorb it from this. So I'll put 1 of those in there. I think maybe I'll do 1.5. So there's 1.5 in there. So we're getting close to the top. So that's the 3 main ingredients. Now we'll start adding some other things. We got worm castings, really dark black, nice, rich worm castings.
Nice. Yeah.
And this is about a quart yogurt container. And I'll just add that into there. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to dump this out onto the floor, and we mix it right on the floor. Okay, so we got the
Dad's style of making potting soil.
so that we got
Do it
the
fast.
worm castings in there now, and we're going to go with some kelp,
Okay,
ground up kelp, and there's what that looks like.
and the worm castings, back on the worm castings, they're useful.
Oh, that's it's a bacteria, and gives you the microorganisms to get things going.
Okay,
So this is the kelp, and we're going to just put in. So this is about a 2 cup. I think this is about a 2 cup. Yeah, 2 cup measure here.
so what do you use kelp for, and why is it important for the
Oh, this
soil?
has like 66 different minerals in it. It's kind of a tonic for boosting the plant's growth. Anyway, there's 2 cups of the kelp in there.
All right.
It was just a slightly bit less than 2 cups. And then we're going to put in some azomite. That's another mineral. I'm really big on minerals. They're very important.
Amazite. It's
This
azomite.
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 And it's just, you can get this in powdered, or this is a granular. And I use for a potting mix, you could go either one. It doesn't really make much difference. So I think for this amount of mixture, we're going to do 1 cup. So we got 1 cup of azomite in there. And that's just for the minerals. Then we got some bone char.
Bone char.
And that's really good
What is,
phosphorus source.
and what is it made out of?
Cooked bones.
Cooked bones, okay.
Yeah. And so it's a readily available phosphorus. And so we're going to do 1/2 cup of bone char. And these amounts aren't super critical on these things anyway. There are some that you have to be really careful about. So we're going to add the bone char here. There we go. Then we're going to do a little bit of this is fish bone meal. So you can kind of see what this looks like up close. And it's just powdered ground fish bones. And that's got 4% nitrogen in it, and I think it's 16% phosphorus. So that's another high phosphorus food. So we're just going to do a cup of that. Cup of bone meal in there.
Mm-hmm.
Fish bone meal.
Looking good.
And then we got some gypsum, and that's another high calcium and sulfur. And calcium is your most important mineral of all your minerals for growing plants. So we got about
And it's
3/4 cup of that, and this is kind of a pelleted little beads.
Uh-huh.
You can get it in powder or bigger chunks.
Okay.
So we're going to do 3/4 cup of that. This calcium is very, very important. And in order for the calcium to get where it needs to go in the plant, you got to use a little bit of borax. And that's just like your mule team borax you can buy at the grocery store. And this is the one thing you got to be really careful about. You don't want to put much of this in here. You can really ruin your plants. It'll be very toxic to your plants. So you're going to do just a little tiny bit of this. And let me see here if I can get a measuring spoon. Yeah.
This
here's
is
one.
what you use in your own mix for doing your own plants.
What's that?
You use the borax in your own mix.
Yeah. This is an 1/8 teaspoon deal, and I'm only going to do about half of it.
Let's see the borax and the amount of you put in there. There we go. Okay.
So
That's just regular borax.
yeah.
Okay.
So you guys sprinkle that in there, just a little bit of that. And that helps the calcium get where it needs to go. Then we got some humates.
Humates?
It's really dark. It's another. It's kind of along the same line as this full Humic powder that we're going to be putting in there.
So what is that made out of?
It's I believe it's out of a rock product. These are called Good Earth Humates. That's a brand name.
Okay.
And so it takes. They're good for the plant to be able to take up all the other. Helps take up all the other minerals that you're going to put in here. So there's a 1/4 cup of Humates.
Here's our potting soil mix so far.
And then we got Greensand. And
Okay, Greensand.
Another
And what is
rock dust.
this? Is a rock dust?
Yep, and it's high in potassium.
Okay, and that's why they use it?
And you want to use a good amount of potassium, especially if you're growing fruit, because that makes the fruit go bigger, like giant tomatoes or whatever you're doing. Everything, you got to have potassium for the size of the fruit. So we're going to see, I'm going to put in this, at least 1 cup of it. There's 1 cup of that. I think that's good. 1 cup of that. And then we've got Basalt rock dust, another rock dust for more minerals.
You would think that this is kind of funny putting rocks into your potting soil, but that's actually in nature what all the microbes in the soil break down rocks and feed it to the plants, actually.
Yeah. And
so that's just basalt, huh?
Yeah, basalt ground up.
Okay.
And it's high in paramagnetic reading. And that helps your plants take up all of its nutrients better and be more productive.
And that's backed by scientific studies and that kind of thing. It's very interesting.
So we got about 3/4 cup
Okay.
of this basalt rock dust.
All right.
Then we got some more calcium here, which is the oyster shell calcium. It's flour, oyster shell flour they call it.
What does that look like?
And so it's just really fine ground up oyster shells.
Okay.
And that's a real good source of calcium. Slow acting, takes a long time for it to be taken up into the plant, but
And that is critical for what?
blossom end rot.
Preventing blossom.
Yeah, preventing blossom end rot
Mm-hmm.
on peppers, tomatoes, zucchinis, everything. So you want to have a good amount of this in there. So let's go with a cup of that. And then we got a little bit of Epsom salts here. Everybody knows what Epsom salts are. Just the same stuff you use for your Epsom salt soak or whatever. So
Yep.
we're just going to put in a couple tablespoons
Couple tablespoons of that.
of Epsom salts.
All right.
And it's highly leachable, so you can add more later during the growing season. Then we're going to add a little bit of full humics.
All right.
And this, you don't want to use very much of this. It's pretty potent.
And it's called something humic acid concentrate.
Yeah, humic acid.
Okay.
So just
What does that look like?
it's just really black,
See if we can get the
really
camera
black
to grab.
powder.
There we go. Oh, interesting. Okay.
So there's 1 teaspoon.
Okay.
That's plenty. And then we can't forget the mycorrhizae,
Mycorrhizae, yeah, of course.
and they got to have that.
That's what feeds your plants.
And
Takes all these goodies and makes it available, transports it into the actual root of the plant.
so we're just going to put in
How
a
much
couple
of,
tablespoons.
what does that look like?
This is really fine powder.
Whoops.
Here. There's
All right. There we go. Yeah. Okay.
2 tablespoons of that.
2 tablespoons.
And that is it.
All right.
And so then we're just going to get a hoe And we got a nice slick concrete floor, so it's easy to mix. And we just mix this all up. Incorporate that so it's all well mixed. And remember what I said about the borax. Don't do the moron farming type of thing. More's better. You got to just do a little tiny bit of that borax. You'll do a lot more damage than good if you put too much in there.
Yeah, that's helpful information.
So a lot of these other powders, rock dust, you can put more or less. It's not real critical, the amounts.
Now, would you consider this kind of your deluxe potting soil mix?
This is a good soil mix.
A lot better than you can buy in the store, that's for sure.
Far better than what you can get at the store.
Far better.
And it'll have better drainage, better
And
aeration.
what kind of plants can you use this on? Is this a universal mix?
Yeah, you can pretty much use this for any kind of garden vegetable.
That's great.
And put it in your pots in your patio or whatever you're going to do. You wouldn't want to use this for starting seedlings. It's too rich for seedlings.
We're going to make another video, hopefully on that, on a good seedling mix.
And it's also too coarse of a mix by far for a seedling mix for seed germination. You need something a lot finer, so we'll sift the stuff when we do the seedling mix. So it's coming along. It's looking pretty well mixed. I cut those holes in the hoe. That way it helps mix it a lot faster.
Oh, is that something that you just came up with?
I don't remember how maybe I saw it somewhere. I don't know.
That's a very interesting idea.
We use it for mixing all of our chicken feed because we never buy commercial chicken feed for our chickens. We always mix all of our chicken feed by hand, and much better than the garbage that you buy at the feed store. So I think we've just about got her there.
Yeah.
It's looking good. And then you can just scoop it up and put it in a box or a bag and use it as you need it. And there's your cubic foot of great potting mix.
A lot better than you can buy in the store. Ready to fire up the biology of your soil.
Yeah, grow some good nutritious food.
Okay, that's about it for all mixing it up. Hey Dad, what about the question about putting rocks in the bottom of your pots?
Oh, that's just an old myth. It doesn't change the perched water table level in the pot at all. So don't waste your time doing that. Just
if you like the videos, hey, subscribe, leave a comment down in the section below, give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you in the next one. And remember, Jesus loves you.